Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said, one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion.
The WNBA is spiraling into a financial crisis, powerless as its foundation collapses in the absence of Caitlin Clark. Once again, the league is proving it has learned nothing about safeguarding the one player who single-handedly lifted them out of irrelevance and into the national spotlight. This is the story of a league sabotaging itself, watching its golden goose sit injured on the bench, while stubbornly ignoring the truth and losing millions of dollars day after day.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
In today's era of manufactured drama and nonstop social media outrage, actual facts are as rare as a sold-out WNBA game without Caitlin Clark. When she was sidelined with a quad injury on May 24th, the league's overwhelming reliance on a single player was laid bare for everyone to witness. And now, with Clark out again, this time with a groin injury and no clear return date, we're watching the exact same pattern unfold all over again.
Quad injury jumped to her groin likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it.
Nationally televised WNBA viewership nosedived by a staggering 55%, with Indiana Fever games alone seeing a 53% drop, falling from an average of 1.81 million viewers when Caitlin Clark played to just 847,000 without her. But this is where the story takes a turn from concerning to downright absurd. And by absurd, we mean predictably catastrophic for a league that continues to ignore the lessons staring it in the face.
Clark went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55% across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th. National TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, the Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850,000.
While Caitlin Clark was out doing what she does best, packing arenas, smashing TV ratings, and generating revenue the league has never seen before, the WNBA was doing what it's sadly become known for: absolutely nothing to protect its most valuable asset. Because somehow, when you have a player responsible for 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity, the league's brilliant strategy is to let opponents go after her unchecked, all while offering tone-deaf lectures about basketball plays.
News is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her fate.
What's particularly fascinating, and by fascinating we mean deeply infuriating, is how this exact scenario has unfolded before, yet the WNBA seems utterly incapable of learning from its own history. This isn't the first time the league has watched its ratings ratings and revenue nosedive the moment its biggest star goes down with an injury. It's like watching someone touch a hot stove, get burned, and then immediately reach for it again, while insisting they had no idea what was coming.
What's really concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season, and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries, with the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term injuries and be more prone.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. The financial fallout has been swift and brutal. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games have dropped by a jaw-dropping 71%, with some falling from $860 to just $250. The average ticket price across games Clark missed sank from $1,370 to only $80, a staggering drop that clearly reveals who truly drives interest in this league. Road games that were moved to larger arenas specifically to meet the demand for Clark are now struggling to fill seats that would have been overflowing with her on the court. The Fever versus Chicago Sky rematch, once one of the season's most hyped matchups, saw ticket prices plunge from $210 to $95. This is the same matchup that previously pulled in 2.25 million viewers, ranking among the most watched games in WNBA history, but without Clark it became just another game, one that casual fans simply don't care to watch.
Man, bruh. Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA have successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
Christine Brennan, the veteran sports journalist and author of the upcoming book On Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports, has emerged as one of the most outspoken critics of the WNBA's mishandling of its brightest star. The WNBA continues to fail to meet the moment, Brennan wrote, following yet another incident where Clark was clearly targeted by opponents. People are watching as never before, and this is what they see. Her words cut to the core of the issue. The league's own data shows Clark draws more than half its total TV audience, yet they continue to let her absorb cheap shots and hard fouls designed purely to intimidate. It's the business equivalent of a restaurant owner standing by while customers harass the one chef whose food is the only reason anyone shows up.
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And, Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour or whatever the circuit is that they play on than Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA.
The pattern has become as predictable as it is infuriating. Caitlin Clark gets hammered by defenders more focused on sending a message than actually playing basketball. Of the 30 flagrant fouls called in the 2024 season, 5 were against Clark alone, with the Chicago Sky accounting for 80% of them. And no matter how she reacts, she can't win. If she pushes back, she's labeled too aggressive. If she stays quiet, she's called soft. It's a lose-lose scenario created by a league that refuses to step in and fix it. Meanwhile, the financial fallout is crippling, not just for the Fever, but for the entire WNBA. The league was already on track to lose $50 million this year, even with the Clark-driven boom in popularity. Without her on the floor, those losses are spiraling as TV ratings collapse, merchandise sales stall, and attendance numbers slip back to pre-Clark levels.
I don't even know where to begin, man. I hope Caitlin Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old, since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20 something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt and playing through this?
The most damning part of this entire situation is that it was entirely preventable. Caitlin Clark entered the league as a humble rookie, constantly praising her teammates, downplaying her own spotlight, and handling criticism with a level of poise far beyond her 22 years. The WNBA had every opportunity to embrace her, protect her, and harness her unprecedented popularity to lift the entire sport. Instead, they allowed jealousy and petty politics to poison what should have been a defining celebration of women's basketball. And now, the consequences stretch far beyond TV ratings and empty seats. Corporate sponsors who poured millions into the league on the promise of Clark-driven momentum are beginning to question whether their investment was a mistake. This entire mess exposes a deeper identity crisis within the WNBA. It wants to be seen as a serious professional league, yet constantly panders
to shallow drama for social media clicks. But you can't have it both ways. Real leagues protect their stars and uphold competitive integrity. High school drama clubs stir up controversy and pray someone's watching.
I admire about Caitlin. She's a warrior. She's tough. You hear me? Bruh, you just don't see players. You don't see female basketball players like her. I'm sorry. I haven't seen a lot of female basketball players, like I said.
The comparison to other professional sports leagues is both stark and embarrassing. Imagine the NBA allowing players to spend months targeting LeBron James with dirty plays while brushing it off as just competitive basketball. It would never happen. League officials would shut it down immediately, handing out fines and suspensions before you could even say flagrant foul. But in the WNBA, this dangerous pattern is allowed to continue unchecked. The league seems content, maybe even desperate enough to believe that any attention is good attention. But in reality, their failure to protect Caitlin Clark has fostered a toxic environment that threatens the very foundation of the league's growth.